Hello everyone. In this latest video by Africa Rebound, we examine the issue of the cost of governance relative to the national budget. What percentage of national budgets should be spent on governance? Under the democratic principle of agency, the people are the principal and the employers of governments. On the other hand, the governments are agents of the people, acting on the people's behalf, and should therefore serve the people, and do so responsibly. So again, how much funding is enough for governments to carry out their agency role on behalf of the people? Why do some governments spend so much of the people's money almost without restraint? If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing for similar insights. Now, let's go deeper into this matter. Governance costs, expenses incurred in running the machinery of government, are vital for ensuring the delivery of public goods and services. However, excessive spending on governance at the expense of economic development, healthcare, education, and infrastructure stifles progress. A widely accepted benchmark is that governance costs should not exceed 20 to 25% of the national budget in well-managed economies. Countries adhering to this standard often allocate the remainder of their budgets to programs that stimulate economic growth and improve quality of life. For instance, Norway, a model for efficient governance, allocated about 22% of its national budget to governance in 2023. This included administrative costs, security, and public service delivery, leaving ample resources for welfare programs, health, education, and infrastructure. Similarly, South Korea spent approximately 24% on governance in 2022, investing the remainder in industrial development, infrastructure, and technology innovation. However, many nations exceed this benchmark, spending as much as 40 to 50% or more of their budgets on governance. This inefficiency not only erodes public trust, but also deprives citizens of essential services. Some examples of countries spending far above reasonable governance costs include 1. Kenya. In 2023, Kenya spent over 35% of its budget on governance. A significant portion went to salaries and allowances for public officials, including governors and county assemblies, leaving limited funding for critical sectors like healthcare and education. 2. Nigeria. In 2023, Nigeria allocated over 40% of its federal budget to recurrent expenditure, largely driven by bloated governance costs. The remuneration of political officeholders alone accounted for 25% of this, with the National Assembly among the world's highest-paid legislators. 3. Argentina. Governance expenditure in Argentina surged to 45% of the national budget in 2023, driven by bureaucratic inefficiencies and excessive administrative costs. This was one of the highest among middle-income nations globally. These high percentages not only reflect inefficiency, but also divert resources from critical investments in human capital, infrastructure, and economic diversification. Governments overspending on governance can implement the following practical measures to achieve fiscal discipline and redirect funds to critical sectors. 1. Streamline the public service workforce. Excessive staffing is a key driver of inflated governance costs. Governments can adopt digital technologies and modernize public administration to reduce redundancies. For example, Rwanda drastically cut down unnecessary public sector roles through its digitization drive in 2020, reducing operational costs by 17% while improving service delivery. 2. Moderate the salaries and perks of political office holders. High salaries, allowances, and retirement benefits for political office holders place a significant burden on national budgets. Enacting salary caps and reviewing perks is critical. For instance, Mexico's austerity reforms in 2019 cut the salaries of top government officials by 25%, saving the country nearly $500 million annually. 3. Merge or eliminate redundant agencies. Governments often operate overlapping ministries, departments, and agencies, leading to inefficiencies. Rationalizing these entities reduces duplication of efforts. For example, in Ghana, the government merged over 20 agencies in 2021 to streamline governance, achieving savings of approximately $120 million. 4. Improve transparency and accountability. Governments with high governance costs often suffer from corruption and wastage. Implementing strong anti-corruption frameworks and open budget systems can curb unnecessary spending. For instance, Estonia's e-governance system has brought transparency to government operations, reducing administrative corruption and saving over $200 million annually since 2018. Governance costs must align with global best practices to enable meaningful investments in economic growth and societal welfare. Countries spending far above the 20 to 25% threshold should prioritize reforms that enhance efficiency, transparency, and accountability. Excessive governance spending reflects poor fiscal discipline and misplaced priorities. Policymakers must recognize that responsible governance is not about spending more, but spending wisely. It is only through efficient resource allocation that governments can deliver on the promise of progress and shared prosperity for their citizens. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, please share the insights with fellow citizens and government officials. And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing for similar insights.